So, anxiety is a real killer. My anxiety is justified. It's based on experience and years of it. We've got a lot of people out here who have spoken their piece about how it is. We've also gotten to hear from professionals. Professionals saying the same things that I did. The things you wanted to call me schizophrenic for saying. Claim I was delusional for saying. When I produce the evidence, I gotta produce it on YouTube and Facebook. Who the fuck's gonna look at it in real life? And yesterday, for the first time ever, I actually got a case number. Getting assistance with this is pretty important. One of the things people wanting to talk over me instead of listening to what it is that I'm saying is that they're literally making everything worse by talking over the victim. When you're trying to turn in a cop, they don't let you finish a fucking sentence. You get one sentence out and then they got some fucking argument. So they want to play fucking lawyer. No, that's not your fucking job, piggy. Your job, piggy, is to do your fucking job. Right? Is that not complicated? What is your job? Maybe each of you in your respective states ought to look that up. Look up in specific what a police officer's job is to do. I am absolutely certain that in no state of the union is threatening, harassing, and intimidating disabled people part of their job description. But they seem to think it is. And the American public seems to think it is. The more money they have and the lighter their skin, the more they push for we deserve it, we deserve it, we deserve it. They victimize us until we're homeless, and then they victimize us for being homeless. For me, it's financial victimization I'm having to deal with. And the physical victimization I'm having to deal with. There's a lot of people in the world, and most of them will retaliate. They don't get what they want. Some of them are likely to get away with it. And those people, well, you guys all know the bias. You already know the criteria. You guys take part in it. It's kind of like my disabilities. If you understand my disabilities well enough to take advantage of me, well, then it means you know I'm telling the truth. A lot of people want to claim that things are not the way that they are. And that's because it's not to their benefit, to be honest. To be straightforward, to be forthright. There's a lot of people that think I'm rude because I'm blunt. Oh, that is a lot of blood. That is specifically from a broken nose. I recognize the drip marks, not because I saw the person it happened to, but because I've seen a lot of people get their nose broke. Ain't pretty. Probably got it all up and down his shirt too. Because a bone busts through the capillaries, so you get a drip out your nose, but it drips at a constant rate. Your nose hairs help to wick it away. Because the spatter pattern, it's more likely that it's a male and not a female that it came from, because, well, a lot of guys tend to not trim their nose hairs as often as many. Women tend to groom things like that more often. I got my hotel room. My severe anxiety for tonight is over the same thing it always is. I haven't succeeded in being able to show anybody jack shit. It's another day closer to the deadline. We've got nothing done as far as that goes. I did get a case number, and I'm super excited about that. But also because of my anxiety, I just can't function. I went down to the homeless encampment by the 76. There's a few people still awake. Couldn't hang out there long because, well, you've gotten to hear some of the screaming on my YouTube channel from that particular camp. The stuff I got on my other recording device, it's just audio, and it's a pain in the butt trying to get it downloaded, but there's a lot of stories from people out here and a lot of actual situations. You don't need to tell me the story because it's recorded on one of my audio devices, or one of my audio files, I meant. Sometimes I go back, I gotta try to find particular videos that I know happened around a particular date, and I get on there and I listen to video after video trying to find that part. Sometimes I gotta go find it based on the background. One of the things that, it's a conversation that Dallas and I had, he walked in on the middle of the video while I was making it in the horse trailer in Chapel, Nebraska. And he, live on my YouTube channel, admitted to a lot of stuff with Jamie Curtis that, well, I already knew. Most of Chapel already knew. Not like it was big news there, but the popularity thing, that was big news. After the situation with Natalie, yeah, you know, there are just certain things you don't say unless they're true, because they can get innocent people killed. Natalie, Alicia, and Maddie Boa, of course. You think when they told those lies, spread those rumors, do you think their intent was to get innocent people killed? I got a lot of recordings out here with people that are gone mentally. One of the ladies, her son is, well, he's pretty well gone mentally. And she was talking about how they take people to the hospital and they I give them medications, and sometimes they come back and sometimes they don't. I gotta get some sleep. I know I do. I can't do it. It's because I know, I got that hotel room and I got everything set up, and it didn't happen. And every day, it's a day closer to me losing everything. They don't understand that if I don't have my insurance, I can't keep my car. They'll find an excuse to pull me over. They'll take everything, including the evidence that I need to clear my name. The evidence that I need to take Alicia Bollinger and her goons to court. The evidence that allows me to take Rochelle Shelley Campbell and Ted Bollinger and Kara Johnson Miles. The evidence that'll allow me to take them to court, to get a new court date, and get those things expunged because my rights were denied and I wasn't allowed to show that evidence. That evidence also shows that I had that evidence. It shows that I was trying to show that evidence, and that is what 100% of my choices have been geared towards. You guys won't listen to me about the other victims because you won't look. How long have I been at this? What I literally needed was for somebody to help me, not tell me, but help me. Actually sit down and help me, not do it for me, but help me. If you know how to do it and I don't, you think maybe you can teach me how to do it. If you say yes and I give you the money, Sean, I could do it, but I don't work for free. Well, how much is it going to cost? Here's the money. I need the help. Law enforcement tried claiming that I wasn't trying to get help, which is an outright lie. And they said that people wouldn't help probably because of the way that I act. Nope, all bullshit. People wouldn't help because that was fucking atrocious slander. And the worst of it didn't come from Natalie and Alicia. It came from Maddie Boa. And I'm not the first person that she went and spread those kind of rumors about. Brian Townsend had to go through the same thing, and he's not the only one either. I gotta be out of the hotel room. I'm assuming it'll be by 11 tomorrow. I probably ought to try to be out of there by about 9 because I'll have my part down at the parts store. Since I'll have my part down at the parts store, I can go get it. I gotta drive over to that parking lot. I'll only have an hour to put it on, take off the old one and put the new one on. I'm not gonna be able to sleep between now and then, and if I do sleep, it's the problem with being alone all the damn time. You have to be afraid to go to sleep. You have to be afraid to set your stuff down anywhere. You have to be afraid that people are going to steal your shit, that they're going to break into your shit, that they're going to take your shit for the same reason that the cops victimize you. These people out here on the streets will victimize you because they also know that the cops don't give a shit and won't investigate a crime against the homeless. They're too lazy for that. We don't matter. What matters is those pretty and nice housed people. A homeless person don't mean squat to anybody. Now you get yourself somebody who's got a beat up 1980s or early 90s vehicle. Well, then they're just barely above being homeless. They're living in a vehicle, so they're homeless. with a whole new set of problems, because having a vehicle makes it difficult, because now you have one of them old vehicles that is targeted because cops know you ain't got no money. They want to turn everything into a civil thing. Oh, well, you have to get a civil lawyer in order to prove 6 months after we've railroaded you, you finally, possibly, maybe will get to prove that these cops fucked up your case, broke the law repeatedly, and that it should have been declared a mistrial. That your public pretenders didn't even show up half the time. That's right, half the time, no call, no show. And we got some witnesses to some of these situations. The problem is that although I recorded those witnesses, it wasn't until I could no longer be in Colorado. Before that, I should have recorded all these people. Every single person. If I'd have had the ability, I would have. If I'd had hindsight, I certainly would have. The most important ones, the ones that told me when I tried to show them evidence, they wanted to say, "Oh no, Sean, I believe you. I believe you, Sean. I don't want you to believe me. I want you to know for a fact." But people weren't down with that, were they? They just wanted to give me the lip service. If you believe me, then fucking speak up, Jesus Christ. But no, these people wanted to be selfish. They wanted to show that they didn't actually care. They were just lip service. When somebody needs help, and there's a situation that you were a part of, it doesn't matter how fucking embarrassed you are. Not to me. If innocent people are being hurt or killed because you're too much of a coward to tell the truth, that's not on me, that's on you. Natalie Bollinger was not the only one who ended up dead over this. Oh. So for me, this is what happens when people don't follow through. It's difficult for me. Extremely difficult, because this is a desperate situation. And I know that both these people, Dan and Jordan, both work for organizations that I'm trying to turn in. Not the organizations themselves, but individual members. And the problem is that when the individual members are part of a group, they're part of they have an established working relationship. You know, they'll blow you off because they don't think this person would do this or that, or because they know the person would do this or that, but they're friends and they don't think they should have to lose their jobs over just a hobo. So I need to get some stuff done. The problem is I'm too tired to get anything accomplished. When I say I make videos when I can't function well enough to do anything else, I do mean that. Over 6 years of abuse, 6 years of threats, harassment, and intimidation. Their intimidation tactics don't work on hardened criminals. They only work on victims. They only work on people who have severe PTSD, or people who are in extremely desperate situations and have to go in alone. Out of all my supposed friends who wanted to claim that they cared and they were going to help, not a single one ever went in with me to make a police report. That entire year before Natalie was killed, and that entire year after Natalie was killed, 2 whole years of fucking lip service. Not one of them bastards could shut the fuck up and look. People who could have and should have helped me. See, never say woulda, coulda, or shoulda. Never expect your friends to keep their word. Never expect somebody, just because they call you family, to actually treat you like family. What you can expect from them is complete and total laziness. And when it no longer benefits them, their families are for their excuse. Oh, Sean, I didn't do the right thing because I have kids. Yep, and with most of these people, I remember when it was, Sean, I need help. I have kids. Miss Jerry, she didn't even remember how many times I'd helped her move. You know why that is? Because in the situations where she was in a bind and needed to move, she was focused on moving. Who was there helping isn't necessarily as important as getting the work done. That's what she was focused on. But she also did acknowledge that later on, that I had helped her move a lot. She don't want the details of that out there, and I get that. I get it. But you're not going to get what you want. See, that's where a lot of people screwed up. I gave them what they want, and they didn't keep their end of the bargain. Or they wanted to assume things that weren't true. That's why I kept on trying to get people to stop fucking texting me and listen to what I had to say. But they just couldn't stop. Like Shannon Alvarado with her constant drunken stupidity. Jesus fuck. Although honestly, I thought she was on meth from phone calls. The thing is, to her house, well, it was the closest thing to a safe place I had in that point in time, especially since she had, well, offered to help me how I needed if I could get to Cali. So I made it to Cali. I did not get the help that I needed. I also got everything thrown in my face because I spoke up. Well, that's fine. You throw it in my face. See, I already knew how you guys were gonna react. Human nature ain't that complicated. I suppose I should probably let you guys hear the guy snoring next door. Might be because I tapped on the wallboard. with having a room and having the ability to set up my desktop and my laptop. Having this room would have been the optimal time to actually come through and help, because we could have gotten a lot done having a room like this. The sooner I turn in these crimes, the more likely the predators are to get locked up. The more likely they are to be arrested and convicted. But you see how this is just fucking dragging on. And on and on and on and on. At least I know the content of these people's characters. One of those, if only I'd have known then what I know now. But I'll tell you something. I know there ain't no time machines. But theoretically, if there were, and I got sent back to the day that Natalie came into my life and rescued me from eating those Vicodin, I'd take the goddamn pills. But that's hindsight. You guys might think that's selfish, given the fact that that was the day Natalie Bollinger came in and told me that she was going to kill herself 100 times, and thinking of me was the reason she didn't. If she'd have had that conversation with me and then I went and took those pills, Natalie Bollinger, well, she might have killed herself over it too. I mean, especially when you pour your heart out like that to a guy and then he kills himself. Yeah, that would, especially with her being suicidal already and making multiple attempts already. So yeah, if I had a time machine that took me back to that day, I would have killed myself, even knowing that Natalie Bollinger would possibly kill herself over it, because I already know that she was going to end up dead anyway. Might as well save the world the trouble, the hurt, and all the extra bodies that got stacked onto this. At least my friends would remember me for who I am instead of hating me for who I had to be because they didn't care. A lot of people throw it in my face that people offered help that they didn't provide, is what you need to understand. Empty promises. You guys want to pretend that because these people offer to do something that it means that they followed through. They didn't follow through. That was the point of recording them and posting it up. They didn't follow through. They all just wanted to fucking argue. Between telling the truth and making me post it on the internet, they chose to make me post it on the internet. And those of you who want to say ignorant shit like, well, they didn't hold a gun to your head. Well, they literally threatened to kill my friends and family. Well before Natalie was ever killed. I'll get about 2.5 hours of sleep if I can. It's not even his snoring that's the problem. I could sleep right through that. But I'm afraid to go to sleep. I'm afraid of the nightmares. I can feel pain in my nightmares, just so you know. I needed somebody to help me with this, not to blow me off. I try to explain to them what's going on. I try to get them to listen about my disabilities, but the problem is that they always have to antagonize the situation first. Instead of creating situations that are increasing my anxiety, maybe they could, I don't know, make it a little bit easier for a disabled person to turn in their predators. On the bright side, if this lady here, if she can get the information out there to help get these children safe, that would be much appreciated. Please make it stop. I went to that concert last night and it was pretty alright. It was a pretty chill environment. I was treated extremely well. I almost forgot what it's like to not be surrounded by screamers or meth addicts or alcoholics. I almost forgot what it's like to be around women who weren't screaming over things that somebody else did, or men screaming over something somebody else did. I get involved in a lot of situations y'all tell me I shouldn't. Well, the reason that the world is as fucked up as it is because you guys are those kind of cowards. You know what? Let me tell you something. I don't have to save the whole world. So quit using that fucking cop-out and shove it up your ass. If I see somebody being victimized in front of me, that's not the whole world, that's one person. If I see somebody else later on in the day, that's not the whole world, that's just one person. One person at a time. But as long as you remain a coward, they remain victimized. Yes, it is your fault that the homeless are treated the way that they are, because you support it. Even if you want to claim that you don't support it, you do nothing about it, and that is support of it. When good men do nothing, that is evil enough. I'm going to continue to try to get this stuff shown. I don't know how effective it's going to be tomorrow. Would have been more effective, well, I guess today actually. It would have been more effective yesterday though. Now I've got a lot of anxiety about having to pack my stuff up and force it into a broken vehicle. I got like 3 days to pay my insurance. I gotta fix that hose. I'm gonna crash out at some point tomorrow. I'm not gonna be able to wake up, and it's not gonna be a choice. I'm exhausted, mentally and physically. I can't function. And these people who I'm going to for help, they don't understand every time that they don't keep their word, that it makes things worse. This is an emergency. They're not treating it like an emergency. They're trying to push me to suicide. There's no way it can be this fucking goddamn impossible to turn in my fucking predators. It cannot be legal for these people to fucking victimize me to the point that I have nothing and can't defend myself. The longer it takes for people to come through, the less I trust them, the less I believe them, and I don't trust anyone to begin with. So we're starting off on shitty footing. You're a human being and you lose 10 points of trust for that. If you're neurotypical, you lose another 10 points. If you've never been homeless, you lose another 10 points. We do this all day. This is what you do to us. This is how you decide how much we're worth. You guys want to tell us all about how white men this and white men that. Which white men? My predators all have names. I need help because I don't have a place to go through all of this, and I don't have any assistance being able to send it to where it needs to go. I get overwhelmed and I shut down, and that is not a choice. Medications never fix that. You know, it did fix that. Being in a loving environment. Good to be with you. Thanks for coming to visit. Stay out of trouble or don't get caught. Remember, you are your brother's keeper, and no victim left behind. Every bit of that means something. Every bit of it. You know what drives most people to suicide? It's not the abuse. It's the way they're treated when they try to get a stop put to it. I'm well aware of what I should be doing according to public opinion. And you're welcome for not doing those things. You are welcome. You'd think that people would be happy and rejoice that I didn't kill anybody, that I'm not interested in killing anybody, that I speak out about how wrong killing people is. But you know what? When it all comes down to it, with no actual help, my friends just wanted to do drugs, sell drugs, and fuck. I was completely alone, even when surrounded by people who claimed that they loved me. How could they love me if they never take a look? How can they love me if they never speak up? How can they love me if they look the other way?